Hello, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello. We should be live across everything. And today, my thing is actually working, which is fantastic. I don't have things glitching, and it was like such a disaster the last one we that we had. But we somehow made it work. But what is going on today? We are talking about something really exciting, and we promised you some really good content. So today we're actually going to talk about how to create more sales from social media. So I want to focus on 3 channels: Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And today I want to start by giving kind of an overview of where we get most of our leads. And then we're going to break those down. And then we're going to go into how do you turn somebody from a follower or someone who's engaging and turn them into somebody that then goes to a phone call and then converts. How does that sound? What do you think, Dave?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So how do you create more sales from social media? All right. Everybody always is like, oh, how do you make money on social? It's a waste of time to make content. I'm not making money. And I always find it's actually, we did a Clubhouse, right? See the Clubhouse that we did where you and I were discussing how we make so much money off our content. And content is not king, it's queen, but it is so important. And if you do not see people coming to you as leads from your content, you probably are, and you don't even notice, right, Tay?
Yes, absolutely. It's true. I think that so many people out there are lost and not really sure of how to leverage their content. People will just post or they won't post. So definitely important to have a strategy in place and to understand how to have these conversations.
Yeah, it's so important because there's so much low-hanging fruit on social media, and a lot of people just don't know how to turn that into actual clients. So it's so funny because I have helped so many people that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they have these top 1% podcasts, blah, 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 but yet they're not even making $1 million. So the reality is you can have an audience, but it's audience, trust, monetization. If you know how to build an audience, but you don't know how to build trust and you don't know how to monetize it, it really doesn't matter. And especially wrap that with the fact that it might not even be the right audience to begin with. So we always say you have to have the right audience with the right offer. If you don't have that, if you have the wrong audience and you have the wrong offer, you're never going to sell. If you have the right audience and the wrong offer, it's still not going to sell. So you have to, it's so important. They have to be in synergy. See, I didn't say a balance. It has to be in synergy, T.
Yeah, synergy. That's right. And I think even prior to any of this, is the foundational part, which is your profile, right? And your messaging, your branding. You have to make sure that's spot on and that it is communicating to the proper audience, right? Because if not, you're going to be trying to sell to the wrong people.
Yeah, and that's important too. And what I have learned is the marketing by modification. It's so important. This is our trademark philosophy that we teach in our coaching company. And it's so important because the reality is you really don't know what your audience needs. You really don't know what the right offer is. You don't know until you actually put it out there. And the reality is things are shifting so quickly. Our offer from 2 years ago is so different from today. And it's because we've evolved, our clients have evolved, but also so is the world. It's a very different world now. So that means our offer has to change and be tweaked. So if you really want to make sales from social media, you have to stay in the know of what's happening. And that means you have to ask. You have to ask people what problems they have. You have to constantly be doing lives like this, right? If you're listening, I would love for you to comment wherever, whether you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever you are. I would love to learn from you on where exactly are you from right now? What's your offer? I would love to learn more about you. So make sure to drop a comment so that we can learn more about you. And also make sure to drop questions. We're going to answer questions. You're getting free coaching right now. So drop questions in the comments and we'll make sure to answer those. So let's break it down. So the 3 best platforms that we're using right now for lead generation is Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So those are the 3. We do pretty well on TikTok, but what we find is we get a lot of leads and not a lot of them convert right now. So that's kind of where we are with TikTok. But we make a ton of money off Instagram. Then I would say LinkedIn is next and then Facebook. So let's break each of those down. So Instagram, there's two different ways to get leads and to get them in the DMs. At the end of the day, the end goal is to get them as a client. So how do you get them as a client? First, you have to build a relationship with them in the DMs, which means you have to get them in the DMs to begin with. Once you get them in the DMs, then what you need to do from there is then start to build a relationship and build trust, right? Remember, it's attention, trust, monetization. So you have to then start to build that trust with them. And what I find with Instagram is you can't be salesy. You can't come right out and be like, "Hey, Tanya, I scale businesses. Do you want to, get on the phone with me?" People are like, "F you,"
Yeah.
right? Where LinkedIn, it's like they don't want to be bothered. That's like straight business. If you're writing them on LinkedIn, there's no relationship. Like it's like, "Hey, I scale businesses. Do you need help?" "Yes, I do." "Great, let's jump on the phone." Like it's like the dating is very different
You
there.
dated.
Where Instagram, you got to flirt a little. It's actually funny. We hired a new lead gen person. He goes, "How much flirting should I do here?" And I was like, "Wait, what? What do you mean you're flirting?" And he goes, "No, like business flirting." I'm like, "Oh, thank God. I thought you were like literally flirting." I'm like, "You're gonna get me divorced here." So there's two different ways. There's cold outreach, which we don't really do that much anymore. We do a little bit, and a lot of that's to if you have ideal audiences that are out there, you want them to know you exist. I would say 1 in every 2 that we engage with end up following me, so it increases my followers. But now I have these people that are, sitting there watching my content, which is great. So what we do there is we find my ideal audience. We're engaging with their stories. That's what I found has been the best technique. Is I'll engage with them. So let's say they posted a really pretty picture of where they live. I'll write them and be like, "Oh, that's so beautiful. Where's that?" And then they will be like, "Oh, it's in, this location." And then I'm like, "Oh, that's where you live." So now I'm knowing where they live. So now I can see, okay, is this an ideal client? Can they afford me? Because the reality is we're high ticket. So there's certain countries that just can't afford us. So this is a really sneaky way to find out, okay, is this person somebody that can actually afford me? And then I just build a relationship. A lot of times I'm like, "Oh, how's your day going?" "Oh, my day's really busy. I bought another business today," or like something like crazy. So they can see like, "Oh, okay, she's not messing around. Like she's like big time." And then I start to ask them questions about their life and their business and who they are. And then the second one is followers and engagers. If you have people that are following you every day, I go through every single one of my followers that follow me and I see, are they my ideal audience? If they are my ideal audience, I'm engaging with them, right? They are following you for a reason. If they're commenting and liking your stuff, even more of a reason to ask them questions and start to engage with them. So cold outreach and then warm outreach. And then what we're doing is we're building relationships. We're going to go into at the end how to have a conversation. And Tanya, maybe you can dig into that later. But that's what we're doing on Instagram. And then Facebook, we're doing groups. So this is internal and external. Internal, we have our own Facebook group. And so we do our lives in here. We're putting content in there. We're driving people to that. And then external, there's so many people posting on groups right now saying, "I need X, Y, and Z." So what we're doing is we're scoping out, all right, where are the people that are asking questions? But then what we're doing is also providing free value and writing posts in groups based on what we see is working. And then the other thing that we're doing is just asking simple questions, right? So I'll go in a group and just say, I'll ask a question like, "What's your biggest challenge right now?" And then I get hundreds of people telling me their biggest challenges. And then I scroll through them. I'm like, all right, my ideal client, not my ideal client, my ideal client, not my ideal client. So it's a great way to leverage just a simple question on Facebook group to find your ideal client. They're literally sitting right there. And then the last is LinkedIn. So there's 2 different ways we do this. We do this through one connection request. The reason why connection requests are really good is because it gets right into their inbox. Where if you were to do Sales Navigator, which we do as well, it goes into more of like that. There's 2 tabs and it goes into the salesy tab. So we find that the response rate is more like 8 to 10% with the Sales Navigator. With connection requests, we find it's more like 40-50%. So you want to experiment with a couple different things. One, you just come right out and say, "Hey, like, I like what you're doing, would love to connect." or you just come right out and say, hey, I help scale businesses. Are you interested? Right. So a couple different ways. On LinkedIn too, people are looking at your profile. You need to be connected with them. And then people that are engaging in your stuff. It's all the same philosophy, guys. If people are following you, looking at your profile, engaging with you, you have to engage back. Did I miss anything, T?
No, spot on.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think once we get into explaining more about how to engage, I feel like that's probably people's like most question, right? Like they get confused on what to say or, what are qualifying questions and how to move the conversation, to the next level. So I think that's what's going to be the most question, but you're spot on with all of the platforms and in LinkedIn for sure is
Yeah.
straightforward.
So, I mean, let's talk about, let's just jump right in, right? So like, how do you get someone from a DM to a call? And so the first thing that I find is, when what's working really well for us is, for example, on Clubhouse, we're driving people to my DMs because we're giving them something, right? So lead magnets work so well. In our course, we actually give you 3 of our lead magnets as templates that you can literally just swap out our text. It saves you a ton of money and a ton of time. But what we find, we have literally 3 lead magnets that we rotate, and that's it. And we rotate these, and people go crazy for them. I mean, we got, I don't know, so many leads, 30 something yesterday, just from a 30-minute conversation on Clubhouse, because we gave away something free that they need. We knew it was a problem, and we've created lead magnets. So when you see people have business problems, create a lead magnet for them that will help them, and it's giving free value, but now it's making people engage with you, saying, hey, I want this. So now if they're saying, hey, I want your content strategy document, they have problems with their content, right? Or the boss audit, which is one of our lead magnets, and people go crazy for this, they have issues with productivity. So these are all things that make people engage with you. The whole point is you want people to engage with you. So in your content, when you're on Clubhouse, when you're going live, you want to give them reasons to engage. If, for example, if you're listening to us and you want our boss audit or 9-box content strategy, DM us, lead magnet, and we'll tell you all the lead magnets we have. We give so many free value and so many free things away to help. So the first step is you want to drive people to your DMs. That's really the best. That's a warm, hot lead. If you can find a way to get them to write you. Anything you want to add to that, T?
Yeah, and I think the key here is not to end just at giving them a free lead magnet, right? I mean, the fortunes in the follow-up, right? Hey, maybe a day later, hey, how did you like the 9 bucks? Do you have any questions? Or what was your favorite part? Always following up with a question and keeping the conversation going. So obviously then you can lead it to, if they still have continued to have questions or still need help, to get them on a call.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the key is to not end a conversation. And Tanya talks about this all the time. And again, if you're listening, you have comments, I would love to know where you're listening from. So feel free to drop a comment, who you are, where you're from, any questions you have, we'll be happy to answer. But I think, Tanya, you bring up a good point. The most important thing is you never want to end a conversation without a question. And so if I'm having a conversation, so pretend, let's role play here. All right.
Okay.
So Tanya, pretend you're coming to me and you want the boss audit lead magnet.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, Alexa, I love what you're talking about on Clubhouse. I would love the boss audit, please.
Oh, so happy that was helpful. I know productivity is one of the most important things for you to get to the next level, and people don't take this seriously enough. But if you could be more productive in your time, you will absolutely scale your business to the next level. So here's the link to the boss audit. If you have any questions, let me know. By the way, what kind of business are you trying to scale?
Oh, I'm a life coach. I just started about a year ago.
Oh, that's fantastic. And how is it going so far? Starting a business is tough, and I'm proud of you for doing it. Would love to know more about how it's going.
It's going pretty good. I think this boss audit will definitely help me prioritize my time better.
Do you find that's one of your biggest challenges right now?
I feel like there's so many challenges as a solopreneur, because, it's just me. So just trying to, find the flow and, do the lead generation and the marketing, but also internal stuff too, always is a challenge.
Oh, I totally get it. I mean, we coach hundreds of students. We see this every single day. And while people think their biggest challenge is lead generation, marketing, and sales, a lot of times it's actually their time and how they're spending their time. For example, we have Sally here, who's also a life coach, who came to us. She was only making 30K, and we helped her by just doing this boss audit, and she tripled her revenue in 4 months. Here's the actual testimonial that you can see. You'll see that she's exactly like you, and look at her now. This could be you. um, so the point here is, so now I'm asking questions, I'm engaging, now I'm giving her proof points, right? So I'm giving her a testimonial, and I'll let her kind of let her sit with that testimonial, and then at the end of that testimonial, I'll ask another question. So some questions you can ask from there is, if you make yourself more productive, do you feel you'd be able to double your revenue? Question mark. That's a question. Or you can say, what are the current things you're doing right now to try to be more productive? So now you can start to get her to talk, to share with you the things that are and aren't working, because now you're starting to build trust. So I gave a testimonial, that's going to build trust. I'm asking her questions, I'm giving her free value, I'm having a conversation, I'm not being salesy, I'm not saying, hey, come hire me. I'm literally just having a conversation. Now, so far, this conversation, as long as we're going back and forth at the same time, you're talking, this is a so far 5-minute conversation, and we've already built trust. We've already started to move in the direction of her feeling like I'm giving her value and I'm not being salesy. So now, how do we turn this to a call, right? So let's keep going. So if you feel you fix your productivity, do you feel that you would be able to double your revenue?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, if you look at the testimonial, did you watch the testimonial of Sally above? What did you
I
think?
did. That's fantastic.
She's almost exactly like your story, isn't she?
Yeah, very similar.
Have you considered hiring a coach to help you get to the next level?
I don't know. I tried hiring a coach before and I was in like a coaching program, but I didn't really feel like I got much out of it. And I know it's kind of funny coming from a coach because I know how important it is to have a coach. I guess just a little burnt.
Yeah, I get it. So many students that we have coached were burnt previously, but I think of a coach as a GPS, right? They help you get to your destination much faster, which saves you money, saves you time. And that's why I think having a coach is so critical. I have one question for you. Do you mind if I ask?
Sure.
What if I can promise you that we could help you double your revenue in the next 6 months? Would you be interested?
Yeah, I would be interested in hearing what you have to say for sure.
All right. So why don't we just jump on the phone for a free 30-minute strategy session? It's free. There's no strings attached. We'll talk more about your business, get to know each other, and see if we can help you.
Okay, let's do it.
Boom. Right. So again, you have to, at some point, you don't want to be friend zoned. So really important. And
Mhm.
sometimes when I start to get friend zoned, one of the tricks that I do is I actually will ask, hey, do you want to jump on a podcast? The podcast is actually a really great, like I have somebody right now who I'm talking with. I could help her quadruple her revenue. I mean, the person literally owns a marketing agency. She's only doing 50 grand a year. We literally did multi millions in like 9 months, right? So I know for a fact we can help her, but she's a little stubborn. She's been burnt in the past. And so what I basically said to her, I'm like, I felt like I was being friend zoned. So I'm like, hey, why don't we jump on a podcast and we'll talk about storytelling? And she was like, oh, great. That's fantastic. Right. So now I'm just building that relationship, and now I get content out of it. She gets content out of it. And now we're going to build further relationships. So sometimes you have to have ways to get out of the friend zone too. Part of it is, as long as you can solve the problem, that's step one. Step two is building the trust that you're the person that can do it. So that's building authority. That's through testimonials, through articles. Sometimes I'll send my Forbes and entrepreneur articles. I have a really great grit article sometimes that I send too, for example. So these are the types of things that you could do to build trust. And in addition to that, they're watching your content. So you got to remember how important your content is. So those are some of my tips on really transitioning people from just a relationship and talking with them in the DMs and now migrating them to a phone call. Any other tips, T?
Yeah, something else that I think you do really well is you listen. So speaking of your content, you relate your content back to a lot of the conversations you're having, whether it's in the DM or if somebody's answering a post or asking a question on a post, you'll then go ahead and turn around and do another post answering that person's question. That then, gets them even more engaged, and it makes them feel very special because they're like, oh my gosh, she's talking to me. She's literally answering my question. And that's going to raise a trust factor and that relationship building as well.
100%. And it's important because if they're asking me questions and then the next day, boom, I post something that's on that question.
Yes.
They're going to go, oh, wow. Right. So it's really important to understand that people that plan their content weeks and months out, we do that. Don't get me wrong. Like Tanya has this amazing 9-box content strategy. If you want it, just DM me or comment 9-box and we'll send it to you. But it's a way to generate hundreds of content ideas. So I have a bank of content that my team can pull at any time that's ready to post. But I'm also looking for immediate content posts too. And people are always like, oh, I can't, I'm not really, good at content. I can't do that. Look, ask me any question, Tanya, and I could do a 15, 30 second and do a good one this time. The last one you did this, it was like, do you like Nutella? And I'm like, that's terrible. Give me like a marketing one, right? But like, it's so easy. All I do is just watch my content, guys. I literally put my phone up like this and I answer a question in 15, 30 seconds. That's it. If you know your content, if you know your skill, then it's so easy for you to move forward and go ahead and build content for. So Tanya, or even people listening, I want you to ask me any question and I'm going to give you a 15, 30-second reel right now. Tanya, you go first.
All right. What's the 3 most important things about marketing?
Okay. 3 most important things. So typically what I do is I'll sit there and so if somebody asks me a question, all I do is I literally have a pad and I literally say the 3 most important things, right? So I'm going to write down 3 things right now. Consistency, Dana. And let's see. Okay, I got it. All right. Are you a business owner? Fantastic. I'm going to tell you the 3 things that must be in your marketing. Otherwise, you will struggle to scale and actually make money off your content. I cut it. Boom. Okay. First and most important thing is data. You have to get really good at looking at your data because how do you know what content works if you aren't looking at your data? The second most important thing is consistency. You must post every single day. It builds trust in people to see your content over and over again. If you don't see it's working, it is. You just have to be consistent. The third most important thing is you have to tell stories. That's how you build trust. People want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. That story is how people get to know you. It's why they like it. So data, consistency, storytelling, those are the 3 things you have to do in your content. Boom, 30 seconds. All right. So that's how easy it is. When you know your content, all I did was literally write data, consistency, and story. That's all I did. And then I just shot the shit. That's all I did. Biggest selling points as a Google agency to new clients. All right. All right. So let's do this one. Biggest selling point as a Google ad agency. All right. Okay. Keywords, competitors, research. Okay. I got this. Okay. Are you looking to start a Google ad agency or just an advertising agency? Here are the 3 most important things that you have to think about when you are trying to get clients. Number 1, you have to understand research. If you are going after the completely wrong audience, it doesn't matter how good your ad is. It doesn't matter what keywords you're targeting. It is so important to make sure that you're going after the right audience. The second thing is competition. No matter what, you need to go after your competition. People don't want to bid on competitors' keywords because they're scared to do it. Do it. They are actually doing the work for you. Go after their audience. The third thing is keyword. No longer do you want to go after the short-term keywords. You want to go after the long-term keywords, which means blogging is still not dead. You want to build those long-term keywords so that you can make sure to be driving traffic to those pages, because that is how you're going to get high Google scores. So if you want to start an ad agency, you have to get really good at understanding how to pick keywords, how to go after competitors, and do market research. That's what you got to do to be successful as a Google ad agency. Boom. Right?
Boom.
Now, whether or not that was 100% accurate, I don't know. But the point is you, like, that's how easy it is to create content. So I spend 5 minutes a day creating content, and that is it. That's how easy it is. right? So you have to get good at building your personal brand. You have to get good at creating content. That is how you build trust. That's how you get people to write you in your DMs, and you want to drive them. At the end, I always say, if you want more, hit the follow button. If you have questions, DM me this. You always have to have some sort of call to action to drive people somewhere. So that's what I think we've got for today. We come live every Thursday at 10 a.m. So if you want more, make sure to follow us and join our Facebook group. I went live on everything today, but most of the time we only go live in our Facebook group. So it's entrepreneurs who want to scale. If you're not part of that group, go be a part of it. Every Thursday, 10 a.m., we go live giving you real tips on how to scale your business. And we'll see you in the next week. Bye, everyone.